Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And welcome to RPtv. Today is Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. The road to the Final Four came to an end last night with an amazing comeback from behind victory. And now the champions will be celebrating in Kansas over the next few days. Julian has that report.
In what seems to be one of the best college basketball finals with an epic comeback, the Kansas Jayhawks ready to make a second-half return to win their fourth NCAA title. They bounced back from a 16-point deficit, making it the largest comeback in NCAA championship history, beating a 1963 record of 15 points. "We overcome the odds, we overcome the adversity, we're just built for this," said David McCormack after making the Jayhawks' last two baskets. North Carolina missed its final four shots, including a potential game-tying three-pointer by Caleb Love at the buzzer. Love would later try to get points on the board, only to get blocked, and North Carolina would get the rebound by Armando Bacot, but then lost his footing and rolled his ankle, taking him out the game from the rest of the game. UNC went scoreless for the final minute and 41 seconds and will total 11 for 40 shots in the second half.
Yesterday, a quiet neighborhood in Manville, New Jersey, was thoroughly shaken by a plane crash that crashed on one family's front lawn. Details are still limited, but let's go to Cooper for that story.
A small plane crashed into the front yard of a house on South Main Street in Manville Monday afternoon, not far from Central Jersey Regional Airport just over the border in Hillsborough. There were no casualties at the scene, and the pilot was the sole occupant of the plane and taken to a local hospital for treatment. The pilot, who is not identified, got himself out of the plane and was across the street when authorities arrived. The pilot had a head injury, but it did not appear to be life-threatening, police said.
Now it's time for announcements. The boys tennis team picked up a big win yesterday by defeating Elizabeth High School with a score of 4-1. In the first and third singles matches, Owen Miller and Ivan Sanchez picked up the first two wins. In the first and second doubles matches, Brandon Saturco and Fabian LaRosa and Tom Minaj and Arya Chabra rounded out the scoring. The softball team was also victorious as they defeated Union Catholic High School by a score of 8-3. Anime Club is holding a spirit wear sale. To place an order, see an Anime Club member. Cash or checks made payable to RPHS can be sent to Miss Amoroso. All orders are due by the end of the day on April 7th. Social Awareness Spirit Week, the week of April 4th to 8th, the district will hold our annual celebration with Spirit Week and culminating with Family Movie Night on Friday, April 8th at 5:30 p.m. at RPMS. Crisis Center applications for the 2022-2023 school year are available to rising juniors and seniors in the class of 2023 and 2024 Google Classroom. All applications are due by April 8th. Class of 2025, cookie dough, will be delivered April 7th. If you have a large order, make sure to arrange transportation. All orders must be picked up in the cafeteria at the end of the school day. SAS will be running in room 5 after school today to decorate flower pots for Mother's Day arrangements. The arrangements will be donated to the Casano Center. See Ms. Almanzar if you have any questions. Newspaper Club will meet Thursday, April 7th in room 2 after school.
be defined as displaying kindness and concern for others. This can be applied to our everyday lives by following these simple steps. Show care and concern for others. Be kind and considerate even when others are not. Find a way to help others. Show concern for others' well-being. Act compassionately and with empathy. Be willing to show mercy and forgiveness. And be engaged in service-based projects.
Continually provides activities and programs that are inclusive, serve to strengthen the community, and are also fun for everyone who attends. And this month is no different. Let's go to Julian for the details.
In recognition of April as Autism Acceptance Month, the Union County Board of County Commissioners is hosting a series of inclusive events and programs to help raise awareness and acceptance for those with autism. The board recognizes the unique dignity and value of every individual who calls Union County home, and they encourage all residents to learn more about autism, to include our friends, neighbors, and family members with autism in community activities that foster health and well-being. Events such as these are important all year round, and that is the reason why the Commission Board followed through on their plans on making sure all residents feel included by creating the first office in New Jersey for people with special needs. Union County regularly hosts inclusive programs for children and adults with autism through the Department of Human Services. The schedule for Autism Acceptance Month includes these events. On April 9th, soccer fans can enjoy a day out with the Red Bulls. Union County is offering a limited number of tickets for persons with autism and their families at $30 each, which includes a food voucher at the venue worth $10. Tickets can be ordered online. On April 24th, Union County Sensory Friendly Theater Series will feature a live performance of Pete the Cat at the Union County Performing Arts Center in Rahway. Tickets cost $8 per person and can be ordered online at ucpac.org or call the box office at 732-499-8226.
Stay tuned, we will be right back.
Hello everyone and welcome to Community Minute, the show on RPtv that keeps things well-rounded. The potential Game of the Year just dropped, and no, I'm not talking about Elden Ring. I'm talking about Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Kirby and Forgotten Land is a 3D platformer created by HAL Laboratory Nintendo and is Kirby's first full 3D adventure. Kirby is transported into a new world, which looks like our modern society, but have been overrun by nature. A group called the Beast Pack are kidnapping Waddle Dees left and right. Kirby, with the new help of his friend Elfalin, are to go save the Waddle Dees, stop the Beast Pack, and uncover the secrets of this new world. The levels of the game really bring the 2D platforming from the game's past into the third dimension really well. And the game's mechanic of mouthful mode is also really brilliant. As why not, kick Kirby changing his new shapes and forms using different objects around the world. It is brilliant. It reminds me of the capture mechanic from Super Mario Odyssey. However, I do still have a bit of complaints about this game. The difficulty curve of the game is a little bit weird, as, most Kirby games tend to be. Along with the game being a bit grindy, as in you need to grind to get upgrades for your abilities and having to save all the Waddle Dees. Overall, the game is still really solid. A good 9 out of 10 for amazing. It's probably one of the best Kirby games I've played so far, and you should definitely give it a try. Well, that's all, folks. See you all next time.
That's it for us today. Thanks for watching RPtv. Have a great day, and stay tuned for CNN 10.
Good news and bad news concerning the U.S. economy headlines today's show. I'm Carl Azus. It's great to have you watching. According to the latest jobs report from the U.S. government, which gives a snapshot of how things looked in March, More than 430,000 new positions were added nationwide last month. Economists had predicted growth of 490,000 jobs. It fell short of that, but the numbers are still considered a sign of strong growth. Another measurement economists pay close attention to is the unemployment rate. This is an estimate of the percentage of American workers who don't have a job, and that number for March was 3.6%. The lowest it's been since the 1960s is 3.5%, and that happened in February of 2020, just before the effects of the COVID pandemic hit America. So what's the bad news here? Inflation is a major problem. Housing prices, new construction, existing homes, and rent have all gone through the roof. By the end of last year, the prices of the things we buy had risen by their biggest margin in 40 years. Gasoline prices rose steadily throughout 2021, and they jumped even higher after Russia invaded Ukraine in late February. If you add up the costs of groceries, gas, and many other things that American families usually buy, Bloomberg Economics expects the typical household will pay $5,200 more this year than it did last year for the exact same things. That's why, even though wages have been increasing in many jobs, Americans aren't feeling those raises because the increase in prices is greater than the additional money in their pockets. What they are feeling is reflected in consumer sentiment, how people perceive their own money and the economy as a whole. And that measure for March was at its lowest level in more than a decade. So what are the upsides to the U.S. government's latest employment numbers?
Well, they're saying there was strong hiring across the board and an unemployment rate that fell to the lowest of the pandemic. 431,000 jobs added back into the economy. 3.6% is the jobless rate. Also, some very good news for January and February. Those numbers were revised higher. Look at February, 750,000 jobs added back in that month. That is much stronger than we expected. That has been the trend, hasn't it, as they've been trying to grapple with all of this flux in the American job market. When they go back and really look at those numbers, they tend to revise them higher. So a strong performance here in the beginning of the year. In fact, if you look at the average, it's about 562,000 jobs added back on average in the first quarter of this year. In normal times, you would be screaming from the rooftops. We know that those are jobs being added back after a huge washout at the beginning of the pandemic. The U.S. economy is still down about 1.6 million jobs since it all began. The story is really in the jobless rate here. This is 14.7% at the worst. This was a really, really ugly moment. Last year, you were still at 6%, now 3.6% unemployment. That shows you that people are being hired, people are being employed, and the unemployment rate is tumbling quite quickly here. In fact, when you look in these numbers, you can see that 418,000 people came off the sidelines and went back into the labor market. That's what you want to see. They're hearing about rising wages. They're hearing about all this job hopping that's providing people with this great opportunity in the American jobs market, and they're coming back into the labor market.
10-second trivia. Which of these events occurred in 1790? First U.S. census taken, Washington was elected president, the U.S. Constitution was ratified, or slavery was abolished? 1790 was the year of the first U.S. census. It found that just under 4 million people lived in America. 1950 was the last time a census of most U.S. households was taken by people going door to door. After that, the Census Bureau started mailing Americans the forms to fill out. The findings from the 1950 census have just been made available to the public. A database of almost 7 million records is now online. A spokesman for the National Archives says the project's been in the works for a decade. The original paper documents these records came from no longer exist. They were destroyed in the 1960s, so what you can see was scanned from microfilms that the Bureau took in 1952. It's not a complete list of everyone who lived in America. After the census was taken, the Bureau estimated that the count missed more than 4% of the population. But for most people whose ancestors lived here in 1950, it's an interesting genealogical snapshot of their family's history. Next story recalls one of the great lines of literature, "The old man was dreaming about the lions." Across the Atlantic and across the African continent, old men aren't the only ones who are dreaming of big cats. Conservationists are working to balance tribal safety, livelihood, and traditions with the preservation of a powerful creature. Lions are considered to be a vulnerable species whose numbers are reportedly decreasing in the wild.
Sunrise on the edge of Ruaha National Park. Here in central Tanzania, livestock is life.
Our tribe believes livestock is part of the family, and we cannot live without them.
Another day, another deadly threat for livestock and people. Stefano Asicheka is part of the Barabig, a little-known tribe with a long history with lions.
In our tribe, our customs and tradition raised us to have pride in killing a lion as a young man, and we are made to believe that once you kill one, it at least reduces the threat.
Traditionally, young warriors like this would gain rewards and status from killing lions. Part of the Lion Defenders program, Asicheka is showing them ways to protect the tribe while preserving the pride.
Lion defenders work in the village areas, and their task is to survey the borders early in the morning for lion tracks and to inform elders of the safety grazing areas.
The Lion Defenders are part of the Ruaha Carnivore Project, founded by Amy Dickman in 2009. When she first came here 4 years previously, things were bad. She said she had to work hard to gain the tribe's trust.
We said we are just here to find out why you're killing these lions, and if there's a way you could achieve whatever you achieve through it, through conservation rather than killing.
And eventually, persistence paid off.
They really opened up to us, and since then it's really been a transformative relationship in working with them for conservation. But we certainly know that the lion killings have decreased by over 70% in the core area that we're working in.
The project offers financial incentives to protect lions by funding community services like education, doctors, and vets.
We'd love to collaborate with you guys. It really can be a way of uplifting people and making sure that wildlife is a way to get people out of poverty as well.
Asicheka also gives tours of the park to help his tribe see wildlife from a new perspective.
The streets of Long Island, New York are probably not the best place for a baby seal to wander. But, well, residents called police when they saw this little guy making his way through a parking lot. Officers believe he swam up the Peconic River, climbed out, and somehow got lost, winding up in a traffic circle. This is a federally protected species. He's cute, but you can't take him home as a pet. Police were able to pick him up, though, and take him to a rehabilitation center. The seal's in good shape and will soon be returned to the beach. We mustn't all rush to judgment. We don't know how long he was there for or if he was blubbering about being lost. The ocean is filled with killer whales, and so if he's trying to go on land to get away, our lips are sealed. We just hope he waits until the walk signal flippers on so he can safely use the Pinna pedestrian crossing. All right. Today's show takes us to the Park High School. It's located in Cottage Grove, Minnesota, and I'm Carl Azus for CNN.